Hey guys, and how's it going? Your buddy Sarge here, bringing you in our TF2 gameplay commentary. Tonight I'm going to be playing as the Engineer, because that's the class that was changed in the Gunmettle update along with every other class, but this video is going to focus on him. Before I did this, I'm going to do the Engineer this time. Let's talk about the Eureka Effect. So the Eureka Effect was recently changed this update by completely removing its old penalties. It used to be able to, no, it used to not be able, you couldn't pick it up before. That kind of sucked, because like when you had a setup and like let's say a freaking Uber came in, you couldn't like run away with your sentry. It was there to die, and unless you were like a good enough engineer and like shielded it and then like rescue rangered it over and over, it was just not possible to let it live. Now you can pick it up. That's really good. You can pick up your damn sentry. What more could we have asked for from this Eureka Effect? Oh, on top of that, you can teleport home. You can teleport home, and by home I mean spawn. You can teleport to spawn and reset your health completely, and your ammo, and your metal too, because that's technically your ammo. And on top of that, you can teleport to your exit, which could make for a really good thing. I haven't tested out where you can pick up your building and then teleport, because apparently it seems like it's possible. Not 100% sure if it is, but I do want to test it out. But the new penalties added to the Eureka Effect is that the construction hit speed boost is decreased by 50%. So when you initially place the sentry, or no matter what level it is, and you start swinging at it, will make it build faster, but 50% less faster if you were using a default wrench. On top of that, you only get 50% metal from buildings, which is on top of that. So instead of getting 25, you get 12. They rounded it down. It's 12.5, should be rounded up, but I guess there's nothing too much to complain about that. It makes sense, because 12 metal is still like enough to like be able to keep your sentry alive. And if you have like a sentry, no, like a dispenser glued beside your sentry, and you're like smacking at it, you're taking less metal from the dispenser and you're still healing your sentry, which is actually a good thing, because if there's no metal in your dispenser and you're healing your sentry and you run out of metal and you're getting hit, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's likely that like the chance of this happening is like very little, because chances are you'll have 200 metal and then you'll get hit down. Like you'll hit the sentry, you'll get 175, then you'll hit it again, and you'll gain that 25 metal, you'll be at 200, 175, and you won't leave that 200, 175 area. But if there is that slim chance of you having no metal, you're gaining 12 and you're healing your sentry by smacking it, and you have more opportunities to heal it as opposed to with a regular wrench. Now let's talk about this new weapon. Oh no, not this new weapon. This modified short circuit. So the short circuit, the projectile destruction has been moved to the alt fire and costs 15 per shot. There's also a 0.5 second cooldown between attempts and refire. That means you have half a second. Like if you absorb a projectile, evaporate a projectile, then you have to wait half a second to evaporate another projectile. Now I'm not sure how that coincides. Is that the right word? Pairs with rockets or grenades or any projectiles being shot at your sentry and how fast they shoot. Because I can like time shots with the said buildings or said weapons, but I don't know when or how fast they go or how frequently you get hit and what's the distance, and there's just a bunch of shit that has to be calculated in order to determine half a second is how frequently your sentry's getting hit. But on top of that, you can only use it, so let's do the math, 15 times like 4 is 60, and then 60 times 3 is 180. That means like 15 times 12 is 180, and then like add another 15. So you can protect your sentry from 13 projectiles before shenanigans start to happen where you're out of metal. On top of you can't receive metal from dispensers. And what's worse is that when you have the short circuit out, you can't pick up your sentry. You just can't take it with you. Can't run away with it. Which I don't understand that. Why is that the thing? If you like right click your sentry, it's like you can't pick it up. It's like, why? With the short circuit out, what was the reason behind this? Why did Valve do this to a short circuit? Now I actually was hoping with this update for the engineer with the gunslinger. Oh wait, no, the gunmetal update for the engineer to have changed the rescue ranger and buff it. I mean, like it's pretty good as it is, but I mean it'd be pretty amazing if you could have all 4 projectiles in your sentry. I mean in your clip, like mouse 3, and shoot a projectile that breaks off sappers. That's something I really want. But this clip is about to end for my Eureka effect plus short circuit. We're going to be moving on to the Jag and the Wrangler next. Now this round has ended, so let's get right onto that. Hit my sentry for no reason, shoot at the demo man with the donator perks, and shit man, I'm sweating up a storm. Alright, let's move on to the Jag plus the Wrangler. So these 2 weapons were changed this update. Jag first. The Jag now heals, or not heals, it now builds your sentry at 1.95 times faster. Of course, I probably should just hit the sentry right there and really finish it off real quick. But this change was made due to the fact that the base construction boost, which the base construction speed can be increased now even more as opposed to before the gunmetal update. Before it was 2 times faster if you're hitting your sentry continuously as it's building up. Now it's 2.5 times faster, and now because of this Jag it's 2.95 times faster, which is a hefty amount. That's 0.15 per hit on top of the amount it's gaining anyway. So it's 0.65 per hit. You can hit the sentry 3 times as it's building, so that's 0.65 times faster per hit. You sum that up, I'm confident it's 2.95. Let's move on to some other changes with the Jag. Plus 15% swing speed and plus 20% repair penalty. That was kind of annoying, but I think it pairs well with the new Wrangler because the Wrangler provides a shield, which gives you enough time to repair your sentry. Well, I mean, like, the Wrangler always provided a shield, but, I actually think nothing really happened, like, but it pairs with the, it doesn't really matter too much that you have that penalty, because you have a shield, so you have, like, all the time in the world to repair it. It's not like you're in a limited situation where you have, like, some nutty, like, direct hit soldier shooting 2 rockets, because 2 direct hit rockets is enough to take out a level 3 sentry with full health. That's pretty nuts. But it's on the bright side, you have this Wrangler, you have this shield, so you could tough it. What I did in this clip was there was a soldier that jumped onto the balcony and he shot 2 directed rockets before I like came to the window and like sniped him with the Wrangler. Like I'm over here and then the soldier jumps up and then I'm like sniping him with the Wrangler and my sentry just barely lives. If I didn't have that shield up, my sentry would not have lived. It would have died because I took 2 direct hit rockets, but because I have that shield up, my sentry is fine and I can go back to it and start hitting it with the Jag and repair that ammo, but it's already fully repaired, so that's not really a problem. But it's actually a pretty nice combo where you have a shield and you're repairing it faster. Well, you're not repairing it, well, I'm not sure how to say this, because you're repairing, okay, you're not repairing it faster. But it's still not that bad because you have this shield, so you have all the time in the world. Now, this sentry's about to die here, and so am I. So, let's move on to the weapon with no downsides at all. The Thompson. Just in a short second, we'll move on to the Thompson. Once these stickies take out my sentry. And here we go. So let's talk about the Thompson. Alright, so let's talk about this Thompson. So the amount it reduces from the Uber is dependent. From the Uber or the cloak is dependent on the range. So let's check this out. This is good. This is just a really short clip. Basic overview of the Thompson. Here we go. And it's the closer you are to the NG, the more Uber you lose. Now let's move on to the bane to everyone's existence. The devil himself in a building, the mini sentry. So the mini sentry was changed this update to massive proportions, where it's actually kind of not that powerful anymore. So let's kickstart it with something that's pretty big. The mini sentry can be repaired now. That was something that was kind of a scary thought, but then it came to mind that when you go to your mini sentry, like what normal NGs would do with a regular sentry, is they'd use that sentry as a shield. This mini sentry is way too short to be used as a shield. It's like trying to protect yourself with like a freaking wagon. I don't know why I said a wagon, but you're trying to protect yourself with a wagon that's like flat on its wheels. Like in that moment, anything could kill you. You could have like a rocket come at you. You could have like a sniper headshot you. There's so much that could happen in that time where you're going to like hit your sentry, and it's just like not that good. On top of this, the mini sentry can now be wrench construction boosted, which is it's a pretty scary thought, because although the thing is with the mace, it's actually it's like Valve has forced it so that you basically have to wrench construction boost it if you want to have a sentry that will help like do something, because it builds pretty slowly. That's one nerf they did. That's one of the nerfs they did, which is it builds slower now. And when it is wrench hit, it builds faster than it did before. So it's actually a benefit to hit it over and over again. But again, if you're like at your mini sentry hitting it, the chances of you getting like picked off, like a headshot or anything, is pretty likely, especially if you're wrench construction boosting it, because that also takes time. Another change about this May Sentry is it starts at 50% health on construction and gains health during construction instead of starting at 100% health. Like it ends off with 100% health, but if you're hitting it while it's being constructed, it will have 100%. It can have 100% health as it's being built. That is, again, this is a great thing, because mini sentries, as little as they were like the bane to existence for the mere reason that they were in, like, you had to stop them. Like, they were enough of an obstacle where you had to shoot it down and you had to destroy it, even if it was something that did such little damage. But now that's like far more easier, so that's a good thing. On top of that, there's another nerf where you can't pick up the metal gibs it drops. So in this clip, I do walk over a couple of mini sentry parts. I can't pick those up for more metal, and that was something that engineers would do, because I'm pretty sure two pickups from 2 destroyed mini sentries was enough to build a 3rd mini sentry. I'm actually not 100% sure about that, because you got like, it probably wasn't that, but it was still a pretty decent amount. My opinion on this new mini sentry, I'm actually like starting to use it, even though it's kind of weird that I'm using it now because it was better before. But the only reason I'm using it, and the thing I feel strongly about this new mini sentry, is that I'm using it as a distraction now. And most of these kills in this video are because the enemy is charging at my mini sentry, and while they're doing that, I'm attacking them. Like, the mini sentry was powerful enough where it could kill, because it built up so fast, and like it was just far more better. But now it's not that much of a problem. Now the enemy just has to focus on the mini sentry. I can rip them up a bit. Sure, they could hurt me if they want to, but then they're taking damage from the mini sentry. For the most part, I'm hurting them with the mini sentry. It's far more beneficial to me than it is to them. Well, actually, it's never beneficial to anyone if you get hit by a mini sentry. But I honestly think this is more of a distraction as opposed to just something to fight with. That's just my general opinion on it. I actually have quite a bit left in this video, and I'm not quite sure what to talk about because I killed most of it. But just talk like I thought I'd spend the rest of this clip talking about the mini sentry and how good or how decent it is. But I already covered the fact that you get like you can't really construction boost it because you can easily get picked off, and it's a distraction. That was what I was planning to talk about. I guess I can talk about the Frontier Justice plus Mini Sentry combo, which is I can say that it's not as good because again, I'm using the Mini Sentry as a distraction, which is just something, well, like all people do it anyway. Like you can see here, I'm retreating from the Scout and Pyro. I put down a Mini Sentry, and you can see on the left that it is losing health. And that's because I used it as a distraction and not an actual weapon. And that's genuinely what the mini sentry is. It's a distraction. It's not a weapon, and it's something I can actually like play against. Because I myself, I'm main soldier, and on top of that, I do play demo quite frequently. And jumping is a big thing with both those classes, so getting interrupted midair while you are trying to fight this sentry is quite annoying. And that's just the gist of the mini sentry now, is that you can stop the engineer from building it, and that is, well, you could stop him anyway before, but it's now far more easier. And I guess now you're more like stuck to your mini sentry because there's a lot of cases where there's a lot of good places to put your mini sentry, such as here, where I have is a pretty decent setup because it's hard to snipe me from there when I have like that huge wall. It's sentry is aiming down, and it's just ingenuine. It's a powerful setup to fight against because of where the sentry is located. I can just keep putting it there and keep having it fight. Eventually, I have to take it to other places because the mini sentry is still powerful enough where it can fight the enemy team. And that's what I did with this mini sentry, where I picked it up and I put it in on the crossway, or the pathway that leads to the midpoint, to stop blue team from capping, because blue is just like asking to cap it. But this mini sentry is enough of a distraction where I can go back to it over and over, fill it up, and put up another mini sentry. Our team is about to cap it. That's gonna be just about it for the video. I thank you guys so much for watching. I actually really enjoyed making this video. And I'll see you guys next time. I forget what class I'm gonna do. I think it's a scout. Not sure. Take care. As always, have a nice day.